Hello internet, sorry no webcam today. Basically, I'm just gonna talk about Anthem because sadly enough, like, I feel as though it's that Bioware and EA that they're not gonna learn anything from this game, especially with all the fan reception, like backing the game and telling everybody how terrible it is. So without further ado, let's talk about Anthem, which has made over 100 million digital revenue since launch, which is crazy to me. But at the same time, though, with all that money that it made, which technically came from pre-orders, because like that launch trailer was so amazing, even though it was littered to the brim with that terrible EA dialogue that basically like that they think that's how people talk when they play online games. You know, when it was littered with that. The odd thing is that they actually shipped the game without without an FOV slider. Or even the fact that like you can use DLSS support for like for the NVIDIA RTX graphics cards, which is crazy to me. But actually, speaking about like their wonderful success and being their second biggest game ever, all right, is that technically, which was Mass Effect 3. Specifically, whatever they're like telling their investors, it is very different because basically the sales success for the game has been super critical, and fans have been actually saying that like how terrible the game has actually been. You know, like you get on the internet and you can type in like, hey, Anthem review, like there will be just about every channel that I've seen has been ripping the game to shreds. However, Anthem like as this article says, Anthem is far from dead, as that they're trying to put out update after update after update to kind of reclaim some of their fans recognition, or at the very least they're doing their best Konami impressions in this case, and trying to win some of the fans back to play their game. Well, Konami will never get us back, you know, like after like all of the terrible things that they've done. But still, moving on though, here are all the new changes, or at least the new major changes coming to Anthem, from cosmetic chests to legendary missions, which I don't know why they don't understand this, that cosmetics, yes, they are important, but they're not necessarily the main thing that bring people back. Which technically, I just found this out a little while ago, is that all of the legendary weapons in Anthem, they all share the same skins as basic weapons, which to a certain extent I can kind of see this being a good thing, because now that they have revamped the legendary missions and souped up versions of story missions, which previously you could never repeat after beating the campaign, which that's sad. Game is introducing Elysian chess, which will appear at the end of strongholds after you kill a boss. Strongholds will no longer put players in after 2 minutes, preventing the joining only for a boss problem. Say they think they've fixed a lot of the problems with the quick play. I swear to Christ, man, like all this should have been things that, like, I don't know how long they've been working on this game for. I think like 6 or 7 years now. If they've been working on this for 6 years, I swear to Christ, like this should not even be like this shouldn't even have to be patched in. Okay, there are more universal Masterworks components coming. A good amount of skills and components that they got buffed. Given were the component that gave Colossus heat reduction when taking damage. Now it just increases your damage when taking damage. Okay, PC FOV slider, as I said, you can now hold the melee button to chain attacks, so on and so forth. And here's a whole bunch of list of things like that's not coming out. Let's go on to like the next video and see. Let's see what the next thing is saying. Okay, Anthem is the top-selling game, of the U.S. in February. Obviously, talking about their sales again. Oh, wait a second. Second, Kingdom Hearts is number 1, and basically they're trying to. Wait a second. It's not completely surprising to figure as that EA has been hyping the game for a better part of 2 years now, and they were strong incentives to pre-order the real the real litmus test will likely be the March MPD figures. You'll find Anthem lost momentum if there's a sharp drop in sales. Nonetheless, Bioware could see this as a chance to grow the game and edge closer to fulfilling its lofty promise. Okay. So basically what that was saying was that, listen, BioWare knows that they fucked up, and now they're trying to do everything in their power to say, like, to keep investors happy while actually trying to make the game somewhat like enjoyable, and they're having a hard time doing that. And I think that kind of goes without saying, but at this point, like, with all the promises like that they're trying to make, man, with all the brand new updates and everything, which, like, going back and looking at the Division 2, okay, which is kind of, man, like miles ahead of Anthem, and like as a playable game, which is crazy. I mean, basically all of this here is like just them talking about like that they're gonna do better, and that they're gonna put stuff in, and that they're gonna like try and make us happy. You know, like like how's everyone doing? It's been a wild ride last few weeks. On one hand, it's been rougher launch than expected, but then I think back and we knew that a big online games tend to hit some kind of problem once they go live. Yeah. Ubisoft games, in this case, Ghost Recon Wildlands, and of course the Division, they have hit some hard strides, okay? The hardest stride of both of those games has been, hey man, you know, like, you're kind of like jumping in and out of world, you know, like the game is so big and buggy that honestly sometimes, you know, like enemies can kind of like just teleport through walls, or they can be blown through solid objects. Yeah, that's a problem, but honestly, it's not as bad as, hey man, I forgot a character sheet. Hey, I forgot to put the FOV slider like in the game. You know, like all of my guns and whatnot. I mean, like my flamethrower is like, it has stats of like a 0% melee boost. Like, why is that even like a stat perk? A 0% perk. I don't know why that's there. Like, yes, like every game has its ups and downs, like when it comes out today, you know. I mean, like even like in the past and whatnot, when they would just ship out another version. But still, like, you kind of don't ship out a game unfinished. Or at least in the previous article it said like that they've been hyping it for 2 years. What have they been doing like in those past 2 years? But this is the piece de resistance that I actually wanted to talk about, and it's Anthem's sale figures could mean more publishers stop early copies. And to a certain extent, I feel as though is that the only reason why that this is a problem is because of one thing and one thing only that actually stopped happening like in the gaming industry. Now, I'm not sure if it costs a lot or not, which I believe it does, but it's one thing that probably could make a lot of the games that we go out and buy. It could mean something like for us to actually go out and buy them, or at the very least, it could help developers actually sort of like get their games better. And I'm not talking about doing like a stress test. I'm not talking about doing like a beta. Well, even though those actually work, you know, but then again, you only get betas now, like if you pre-order the game. So you tend to think about it and it's like, wait a second, so what's the point of even like having a beta of a game if I have to pay for the beta? You know, because I remember people got mad at what was it? They got mad at Ground Zeroes because it was a purchasable demo. But then again, if that was a purchasable demo, at the very least, like, you knew that Metal Gear Solid 5 was going to be on the right track control-wise and gameplay-wise, right? Which, again, nobody has a problem with that. They have a problem with the story and the fact that Hideo Kojima couldn't finish the game. In terms of what this is doing, which I'm about to jump back onto the article so I can continue my little tangent, is that Anthem sales success came to be more fascinating. Is a more fascinating story than just the numbers, though it could point toward a larger trend that threatens the transparency of the industry. Anthem was one of the first major releases in 2019 that failed to provide advanced review copies to critics ahead of launch. Which, if you think about that basically means that, or at least basically that is code for our game, or at least that we know that our game is so bad that we can't let the or at least we can't lift the review embargo until basically the game comes out. So technically, whenever that happens, that information should actually tell you, hey man, if reviews come out basically when the game is out, then the game is terrible. Don't buy it. Cancel your pre-order. Go to GameStop. Go to PlayStation. Go wherever you can and just cancel it, because whatever's coming in, the game is terrible. You should not be playing it. That's basically what's going on, right? And of course, they keep talking about that they should have learned their lesson from Mass Effect and Andromeda, but they didn't, And also the fact that that gamers that they don't listen to reviewers anymore, that they listen to streamers, so on so forth, with the Apex Legend thing, with Ninja getting paid $1 million, and Soda Shroud and Dr. Disrespect, and so on and so forth, how they got paid to promote the game, which again, stop only mentioning Ninja. You have two more people who also got paid, and others, so stop it. But yeah, going into that though, it's so they paid these guys to play their game, promote it, and then they say a lot of good things about it. However, the fact that in and itself, it isn't troubling. If not for the likelihood, it could become an even more prominent industry practice than it already is. Fans rely on critics to help them make decisions about where to spend their money. It's unlikely anyone who was ever a diehard fan of a game truly decided against its purchase because of a bad review. But those who are on the fence about the title and strive for cash benefit greatly from added information. Which, out of all these articles, right? This one right here about they should stop early copies. I always go down the history of, or at least every now and again, I always go down the history of gamings and basically all the hardships in which that we had to deal with. Now, multiple copies of a game coming out, that's not a problem. 4 different versions of Revenge of the Shinobi, that's not really too much of a problem as a kid, because you can just play one and have fun, right? Cool. However, you look at, season passes. You look at online codes. You look at pre-order DLC to just get a game day one. All that crazy stuff. Like that. Plenty of people have honestly said to get games, because technically, I don't really pre-order games. I mean, sure. If it's a game like that I have a history with, like Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, games like that. Well, I didn't pre-order Devil May Cry. I did pre-order Resident Evil, but games like that, those two had demos. They had demos, and they had people who actually allowed you to play the game before it came out. People played that Resident Evil demo. Sure, the Resident Evil demo, it was only a half hour, but in that half hour, people actually, or at least for the PC version, people modded it so that they could play it for more than a half hour. Wait a second, let me put my camera back on. Put my camera back up. So yeah, this is the end of the video, right? Because I kind of took a little bit too, I took a little too extra long to talk about that, but people love, demos should come back, because demos were something that kept all of the it kept everything in order. We wouldn't have an Anthem problem if they had a demo. If they had a demo of this game, not a closed beta, not a thing of like, hey guys, man, we're doing like a stress test and basically you gotta like pre-order the game to get it and whatnot, like just to have fun with the demo. They need to stop doing that, because you kind of get these problems, or at least technically every game that has come out so far like that has done that has had plenty of problems in which that they have needed to go back and fix this or fix that, or go through and like give you, what was it, like they have to do like a day one patch or whatnot, or like a day, week, or so like a day one, a week, a month, and so on and so forth. Anthem is in a problem that it is because they tried to get greedy at the very least, take out everything and say, hey guys, it should be okay, like we'll just give you this, and then like the next few months, like we'll just give you something. Yeah, that's bad. So at this point, the most I can say is like, hopefully demos, they do come back, because I feel as though that they kind of keep like free demos, because they keep developers like on the right track, you know, versus like just saying, hey man, like it's a beta. What is a beta when like you don't listen to the people who actually play it? You know, or at the very least, you know that you're doing the right thing if like people aren't necessarily downloading it, or if they're even interested in your game in the first place. So, you know, like Resident Evil's demo, like it broke. So like it, like that thing went crazy. If Devil May Cry had it, well, Devil May Cry, I think it did have a demo, but like with that, it went crazy. You know, just saying. So at the end of the day, like I've been looking at these news articles for so long and whatnot, and you hear the same trigger words every day, like no, that like the review embargo comes out when the game is out, you know, that, so you know, that kind of thing. But hopefully Anthem can recover from this. This is basically or else like they will disappear into the ether, and that is something that I don't really need to see. So I'll catch you guys on the next Jongravesshow. Keep watching anime, keep playing video games. Sorry this video was so long. I'm out.